Hi people, it's Arkham here, and today I would like to talk a bit about what I think of the next generation consoles. So one of my most pressing concerns about the next generation consoles, and I will be more specific, the Xbox One, is its graphics. I honestly expected more. I mean, I know it's... No, I thought it was going to be cheaper than it was. I thought the Xbox One would be £300, similar to the PlayStation, but no, because they insisted on pushing Kinect, it has now got a £400 price tag, which I believe to be far too much for what it's actually offering you. I think a lot of you are probably aware that Call of Duty Ghosts was recently announced to only be able to run at 720p on the Xbox One, which that's just not good. PCs, well, reasonable mid-range PCs have been able to run games at 1080p for years now. So why can Xbox One, at the beginning of the life cycle, only manage to do it at 720p? And what's even more frightening about this is that if you remember back to the early Xbox 360 games, you actually see more 1080p. There was a tennis game, I believe, that ran at 1080p, Virtua Tennis. But as the life cycle went on, more and more games gravitated towards 720p so they could put more graphics in there, such as shadows, depth of field, ambient occlusion, what have you. And I've heard a lot of people saying, and I'd say in some areas rightly so, that 720p, you know, what's that going to do to Call of Duty? It's not about the graphics, it's about the gameplay. That's why they try and get to 60 frames per second, because that has a real effect on gameplay. However, I would argue that the resolution does have somewhat of an effect on gameplay. If you have a very blurry screen, then it's a lot harder to pick out enemy infantry. If there's a sniper hiding off in the distance, he's going to be able to zoom in and see you. However, you are not going to see anything, it's just going to be some blur in the background. However, if you got to 1080p, perhaps you will be able to see him. Perhaps that extra level of detail will be enough to give you the advantage and be able to retaliate. And so I actually do believe in many cases 1080p will give you a very real gameplay advantage. To those of you who are planning on getting an Xbox One, I would really suggest you think about what you're getting and think about what advantages you will get from playing it. Now, if all your friends are getting it, fine. Look, playing with friends is one of the most important things you can get from a console. If that's the case, then please do so. Unless, of course, you think you can convince them otherwise to go to the PS4. But think about it. You're paying more for Kinect, which I believe might be a nice gimmick for once, but you won't use it that often. Pressing a button is easier than speaking, it just is. I think it's important that I say this kind of thing because I think too often people hear this kind of information, especially the Call of Duty one, from the mouths of Sony fanboys who are simply out to drive down the Xbox One fans or adopters, whatever you call them. And that is not what I am. As I've said, I want both to succeed. I mean, I'm personally constantly jumping from what console I enjoy the most. Last month, it was the PS3. This month, it's the PC. A few months ago, it was the Xbox 360. I really don't care. Okay, to be honest, I've never really played the Wii, but that's simply because I'm not too keen on Nintendo since the GameCube. I thought that was the pinnacle of their console life, and since then they've never quite got back to that level of excellency. I'm sure there's loads of people out there who completely disagree with me, but hey, I love the GameCube. Everything from design to game performance to actual game selection. Great console. But with all that said, as my old English teacher used to say, any point is valid as long as you can justify it. And if you can justify purchasing an Xbox One, if you can make a very solid opinion on why you're getting it, then of course, by all means, you should get it. If there's some very obvious advantage it has, be it the aforementioned presence of friends playing it, or if you really want Dead Rising free, if that's a really important thing to you, then of course you should buy it. And I'm not going to argue with you on that. But just from, a non-biased perspective, I would say if you are indifferent, if you're on the fence and you're deciding to buy the PS4 for yourself or someone else as a gift, yeah, I would definitely say the PS4 is probably the wiser option at this moment in time. But anyway, as always people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.